Sunrise paints the highway gold, another mile to go. Got my coffee hot and strong, feeling that diesel flow. From the mountains to the plains, across the country wide, there's a story in each hall, with Todd right by my side. Oh, Trucker Todd, he's on the road with his camera in hand, sharing tales from the big rig across the promised land. From the engine's roar to the scenic view, every moment clear and bright. Trucker Todd, he lights up the screen day and through the night. He shows us how the gears all shift, the struggles and the grace. The lonely stretches, friendly stops at a steady, honest pace. For every truck stop, diner meal, and every sunset hue, Todd's there with a friendly wave, making every journey new. Oh, Trucker Todd, he's on the road with his camera in hand, sharing tales from the big rig across the promised land. From the engine's roar to the scenic view, every moment clear and bright. Trucker Todd, he lights up the screen day and through the night. He's got the tips for maintenance, the jokes to make you smile, connecting strangers far and near, from mile after mile. It's more than just a journey, it's a community so grand. With every upload, every trip, he's the best in all the land. Oh, Trucker Todd, he's on the road with his camera in hand, sharing tales from the big rig across the promised land. From the engine's roar to the scenic view, every moment clear and bright. Trucker Todd, he lights up the screen day and through the night. So give a like and subscribe to Todd's channel, true and bold. More adventures on the way, stories yet untold. Honk, honk.
Well, hello, everybody. Sorry you caught me in the middle of eating some microwave popcorn. It's been a long time since I did one of these. I'm a little rusty at it, as you can probably tell. We're going to try to get this put together for you real quick. Got a lot to get to tonight. I've got to pick up a load later tonight going to California. And so I figured this would be a good thing to do while I'm waiting for that meat load to get ready. All right, before we get too far into that, let's say hello to our channel members. We've got a bunch, and they've been joining recently, so I appreciate that. The longest standing channel member is Ramon, Adam, Racing Ray, Jesus Name Above All Names, Michael, Adam again, 404 Trucker Dave, Darth Wampus, Gary Schwein, Snipes, Chaos Ninja, Sid, Rio Blimley, Kyle McKee, Gary Cook, Brian Vanderway, Humble Ed, and Oser DM. So we've got a pretty good little crowd in here tonight. It looks, as far as channel members go, it looks like we've got, well, it's on the screen, we've got 19 now, so that's a big jump. I definitely appreciate everybody. It says we've gone up 12% in the previous 31 days, and I appreciate y'all joining me for all of that. So a lot's gone on the past month. I got this truck, as you guys know. That's why I didn't need to eat popcorn. It's getting stuck in my throat. A lot's gone on. We'll talk about the truck, how it's been, my relationship with Tell, how that's been. The last video I did that was really recorded or live, I was having some issues with TransAm. We'll talk about that and the dispatcher shuffle and all of that that's taken place. And then we'll talk about good and bad companies. There's a lot of companies that's been in the YouTube news lately, namely Hirschbach, namely Prime, TransAm, and even the folks over at Hurricane Express. And so it brings up an interesting question, something we need to talk about. What makes a good company and what makes a bad company? And, you know, I'm sure we've got people on both sides of the fence here that would argue any of those companies I mentioned were either good or bad. I don't think anybody has a neutral opinion on any of these companies. And so let's start with TransAm. And I think we've seen on here at times I've been kind of critical of TransAm, and I think at times I've been pretty supportive of TransAm. And so let me say this. I think generally speaking, and we're going to apply this metric to every company we look at tonight. How well does a company accept constructive criticism? If I'm at Hirschbach and I say something bad about them, how well do they take it? If I'm at Hurricane and I say something bad about them, how well do they take it? And if I'm at Prime, same thing. How well do they take it? Well, let's look at TransAm. TransAm, a lot of you thought should fire me for the negative things I said. And technically, when you're an independent contractor, they can't really fire you. They can break your contract or decide they don't want to work with you anymore. They can terminate your operating agreement, which I could do the same thing. I'm sitting at the TransAm terminal in Olathe, Kansas. I could walk in there right now and say, hey, I want to terminate my contract. And I could get out of it right now. Now, on a Sunday, it'd be difficult. I'd have to remove the ELD. I'd have to peel the stickers. There's some steps involved, but I could do that. Same thing. They could walk out here right now, knock on my truck, say, Todd, it's been fun, but we want to end this right now. And they could start peeling off my stickers and removing my ELD and taking my fuel card and taking my permit book and all that stuff. Instead, you know, and I shared a little bit of this in this last video. Man, I got to learn to quit eating popcorn before I live. They were very, very receptive to it. We had great dialogue last time I was in town. We didn't this time because I got here on a weekend when a lot of people aren't here. But we've had great dialogue, even at times when we might have disagreed on something or saw things differently. And I think both parties, I think they've accepted constructive criticism well. I think I've accepted some constructive criticism well. And so I would have to classify TransAm as a pretty good company. Now, are they perfect? Absolutely not. And I'll tell you, after I drink something, I'll tell you my biggest beef with them. And some of you know what it is. It's been home time. I recently went home, and once again, I ended up having to deadhead about 300 miles for free to drop off an empty trailer. It resulted in a moderate disagreement that resulted in me requesting a different dispatcher. And I hated to do that. He was a great dispatcher, but we had some beef when it come to home time. And so I'm back to my original dispatcher, the one I called Dispatcher 2. And there's a night dispatcher that is moving today's shift, and I'm going to call her Dispatcher 1. And both of them have been excellent. Even regarding home time, Dispatcher 1, I was speaking with her today. I said, hey, sometime around July 10th, I need to go home for a couple of days. I got to get some paperwork done or signed, and I got to get some blood work done. No problem, Todd. I'll put it in the computer right now. Now, we still don't have that empty trailer thing settled, and I'm not sure that we're ever going to get it settled. That it's one of those deals. It's not enough to quit over, but it's definitely strike one of three for sure. So we're going to keep working. She and I have good communication. We've had to work together the last 2 days on some things, and she's been excellent. I was a little concerned bringing somebody up from night shift, but I think she's an excellent choice. She's already proven to be extremely competent. She's already proven to give good advice because, as I've told y'all, despite what some people think, I don't know everything. I still seek the advice and counsel of others. And sometimes I'll ask my dispatcher, hey, what do you think? What would you do if you were me? And I expect them to tell me the truth, that she does that. And so I've got a lot of respect for her already. And then Dispatcher 2, I've got a history with him. In the beginning, we did not hit it off. But after I met with him in person, we've been great ever since. I actually enjoy working with both of them very much. And I think we're in probably the best position we've been in. I say TransAm and me, since I've been here, I'm probably the happiest I've been. I do think there's a lot of good people here. And I think, generally speaking, they have good intentions. I don't think, and I've said this in other videos, I don't think anybody here is intentionally trying to screw anybody over. I don't think anybody here is dishonest or intentionally trying to rip somebody off. Now, saying that, I realize that when you have a couple of hundred people in a group, there probably is one or two dishonest people in any group. I have not dealt with them here, but I'm just saying, so far, the people I deal with have been great. And I am not happy about the home time. Everybody from the president of the company to the owner of the company, all the way down to support staff that work in the shop in the parking lot, knows that I don't like the current trailer situation, the way it works when I go home. I think they're looking at ways that they can improve that. And I think it's going to get better over time. And that's why I've remained here. And that's why I've continued working here. And so for that reason, because we can have a dialogue, because they can pick up the phone and call me right now and say, hey, Todd, we want to talk to you about this. And I can take it. Or I can talk to them and say, hey, I really don't like this. Why do we do this? This is dumb. And they can take it without getting mad, without going, oh, we're going to burn this guy. We're going to give him cruddy loads. We're going to blacklist him. They answer my question. Sometimes they say, we never thought of it. Let us look into it a little more. And so I'm going to give them an A-. I'm not saying they're perfect. That home time thing is probably the only thing that keeps them from being an A+. If they get this trailer situation fixed, and ideally what I'd like to see, I'd like them to make a deal with Prime to where I got an exception because of where I live, not because I'm Trucker Todd, but because of where I live, that I could just take the trailer home with me, and with the understanding that I'm responsible for it, things like that. Now, I understand their perspective too. A lot of times, especially in remote areas like that, trailer pools are small, and it probably hurts them if I take several days off and that trailer's out of service. My counter argument to that would be it happens at a lot of these shippers and receivers. How many of us have gone to a shipper or receiver and they're using a trailer for storage, or they've got them 2 or 3 deep in a parking spot, and you know that back trailer ain't been moved in several weeks. So I would argue that me taking it home for 4 or 5 days or even a week isn't any different than it sitting at a shipper or receiver unused for a week at a time as well. But that's what I would say about that. Now let's talk about some of these other companies. Let's talk about Hirschbach for a second. A lot of people know that I've briefly covered the wild beard thing going on with Hirschbach, and they've done things like call his company, try to get him fired. They've done things like call the police on him. They've done things like call the FBI on him. They've done everything they can to try to silence him. And what I would say about that is, this is just my opinion. Nobody's told me to say this. Make your own decision. Go there if you want to go there. But just my opinion, my 2 cents worth. I think these are signs of a really bad company that I wouldn't work for. Let's forget about the autonomous trucks for a minute. And by the way, I'm shocked how many drivers are for that. But if they would call the FBI on a guy for exercising his free speech rights, if they would call the police on him, if they would call his company and try to get him fired, first of all, anybody that calls companies and tries to get people fired is a dirtbag. And I've had people call on me. I don't know about at TransAm if anybody's done it. I haven't heard reports. People call companies and say, "Hey, don't hire Trucker Todd," things like that. A business owner contacted me recently and told me somebody was calling and bad mouthing me because they was afraid I might be going to work for that company. And he told them he knows Trucker Todd a little differently than they do, and that if Trucker Todd wanted to come there, the door was open. And he was just calling to let me know he was in my corner. And so that's what I would say about that. But now let's talk about Prime. I think we got to give Prime some kudos. Let's go back to the Wildbeard thing for a minute. When Hirschbach called Prime and said, "Hey, you need to get rid of this Wildbeard guy. If he would talk about us this way, he might talk about you this way." Prime instead brought Wildbeard to the terminal, had him meet with upper leadership, and they shook his hand and said they were glad he worked for them. So I think you got to give TransAm kudos. I mean, I keep saying TransAm because we work with Prime so closely, but I think you got to give Prime some kudos and say, hey, maybe they're a better company than what I initially thought they were. I'm still not big on their inward-facing cameras. I still don't like super singles. I still don't like their truck speeds. But I think if you wanted to give them a B or a B plus or a B minus, somewhere in there, I think that I'd be okay with that. I think I'd understand that. I was really impressed that they weren't swayed with the winds. And when another company called them and said, hey, you should get rid of this guy, they just ignored them. So kudos to Prime. Kudos to Wildbeard for standing his ground, not being intimidated, not backing down. I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot of truck drivers that talk a big game and they're nothing more than cowards. I ran into one in a truck stop the other night, and I'm not going to tell that story on here. I think a couple of you know that story. But yeah, most truck drivers are all talk. There's some real cowards out here. And it's nice to see a guy with some backbone that stands up for his beliefs and what he believes in. And he does it in a way where he's not calling for violence, calling for a boycott. He's saying, I don't care where you work, just don't work at Hirschbach. And so kudos to Wildbeard. kudos to Prime. And that leaves hurricane. Let me see. I've been thinking all day about how I'm going to say this. And I think I want to say the circus is back in town. I'm not going to trash the YouTuber they hired. There's plenty of that going around. And at this point, it'd be just me hopping on the bandwagon. And I've talked about companies with a bad reputation wanting to change their reputation and have a good reputation. And you don't do that by hiring influencers with questionable reputations and questionable job histories and things like that. I don't see anything. Maybe there's something. If now I'm stuck on Hirschbach. If Hurricane wants to reach out to me and provide me with some information about how their program has improved, I'd be happy to review that information. I'd be happy to make a video about that information, but I ain't seen it yet. And this is just my opinion. If you guys think Hurricane is the greatest company ever, then go to work there and tell me, Todd, you're all wrong. I make a killing over here. It's the best company ever. But I've seen too many things that make me say no, never. And, it's right now they're under the microscope because they hired this YouTuber and he's putting out what I would consider to be fictitious videos with inflated numbers and inflated claims. And look, he may prove me wrong. He may stay there 2 years and he may pay that hood off and he may do great and he may not. I think my Tell deal, which I've got a link, I've got the information in the ticker at the bottom of the screen and in the description of the video. I think it's a much better option if you want a truck. And, I'd be happy to go over it. I've got videos coming out. I'm going to give the specs of this truck. I've got a 14-page spec sheet. I already did a video where I showed it, and I'll do the spec sheet. I'm going to do a video where I compare it to SFI, and I'm going to do a video where I compare it to the TransAm lease. And I'll give you a kind of a cliff note. Some of you that are older know what that is. I'm not necessarily saying the TransAm lease is a bad deal. I actually like it for a lot of reasons. I like the 90-day lease option. I like the 6-month lease options. But I think the TransAm lease works a lot better if you just use the lease portion of it instead of the purchase portion. Use it as a springboard to save money to get your own truck for a whole host of reasons. In 2023, TransAm had a big shift in leadership, and they changed for the better, in my opinion. I think they're a pretty good place now, but who knows what the future holds. Maybe a year from now, they could have a shift in leadership and go in a negative direction. And if that happens, I've got options because I've got my own truck. And there are options with the TransAm lease purchase truck where you can move it to other companies. But I have not explored those options. And I know at Swift, they had similar options, but quite frankly, it was more trouble than it was worth most of the time. And so I've gone on for nearly 30 minutes now and said my piece. We'll probably recircle and revisit these topics throughout the live tonight as I think of things I missed or things I wanted to cover and that I did not cover. So short of it is, kudos to Prime and TransAm and Wildbeard. Thumbs down to Hirschbach and Hurricane at this point. Like I said, Hirschbach, Hurricane, you want to email me some stuff at todd@truckertodd.net. Show me where I got it wrong. I'll make a follow-up video. I don't have a dog in that fight. If you're a good company and I've got it wrong, I'll be happy to make a follow-up video. But I suspect those emails aren't coming. All right, let's jump into the comments here. Roger Berry. Yes, sir. How are you? How's the new truck doing? Watching on the replay, gang. All right, yeah. Let me remind you that those that are watching on the replay, but gang, you still can give the video a thumbs up. You can still leave a comment, and it still helps me in the algorithms, and I'll still respond to every single comment I get that I can. Now, here's the problem, and this is something else we need to discuss. I'm getting so many messages and so many emails right now and so many phone calls right now that it is extremely hard to respond to everybody. I'm trying my best. There's probably going to reach a point at some point where I might not be able to respond to every single comment, but I am going to do my best. I realize that it's important. That a lot of people tell me that's the reason they watch, is because I interact with them, I respond. And so I'm going to try my best, but sometimes comments fall through the cracks. We were having the issue the other day where somebody messaged me through the website, and every time they asked me a question, when I responded, it sent them the answer twice. So if, for example, if he said, does TransAm still have Kenworths? If I said yes, he got the answer yes twice. So I've got a lot of AI things and a lot of behind the scenes things that help me respond to everybody. And I'm going to utilize those things to the best of my ability and get back to everybody as quickly as I can. Keep in mind, though, that I'm still driving a truck like you guys are. I'm still working 70 hours a week. And so it requires a lot of excellent time management on my part to even be able to respond to any of you or put out any videos. But I'm constantly looking for ways to improve the interactions and respond to you guys and gals in a timely manner. Roger Berry, hope all is well. Sorry I'm missing the live. First one in a while, leaving Central Kentucky early morning for St. Louis, then Milwaukee, and on to Minneapolis. Stay safe, everyone. Yeah, that's all right, man. I appreciate y'all just as much when you watch the replay. I like y'all here for the lives because the comments give me something to bounce off of, something to talk about. It's a lot harder to do if everybody's in the replay, gang. But I appreciate you guys making these videos a priority and watching them when you can. And so we're good, Roger. Holler at me sometime. I hadn't talked to you in a while. You are correct. It's been about a month since I did a live. And I say it every video. I'm trying to get more frequent. I really want to go back to Tuesdays and Thursdays. And things are coming together where I may be able to start doing that here pretty soon. Adam Murley, channel member, moderator, here from Wichita at the hospital with the wife. She's been here for a month. Oh, man. I'm sorry to hear that, Adam. I'm going to say a prayer for you. And everybody else in here, say a quick prayer for Adam's wife. Adam, give me a call. I'm going to be driving all night. I got to go to California. Give me a call tonight or tomorrow afternoon. Let me know what's going on if I can help anyway, but we'll definitely say a prayer for you. I appreciate you being here, especially with all you got going on with your wife right now. And Racing Ray, channel member moderator. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everyone's having a great weekend. Yeah, Racing Ray is another guy I haven't talked to in a couple of days. I got to get him called tonight after the show if he's still awake. And Robbie Ross is here. He says, hello, friends. Broke down in Texarkana. I got a lot of family in that area. Not as much as I used to have. Both my parents are deceased now, but normally that'd be a great place for me to break down. But if there is such a thing as a great place to break down, he believes he's got a fuel pump that's gone out on his truck, and it's going to be tomorrow morning before they can look at it. So let's cross our fingers for Robbie Ross that it's something quick and easy that they can fix and get him back on the road. And 313 Leo says, hello, everyone. Hello, 313. Ted Van Buskirk. Hello, sir. Hope all is well. Good to see you. Yes, sir. I'm glad to get to do one of these again. I've been pretty stressed out the last 3 or 4 weeks, and these lives always help me with my stress, kind of de-escalate me, kind of calm me down. So I got to start doing more of these to keep my temperature or my temper in check. And 313 Leo says, sitting bored in Barstow. Yeah, I'm actually heading that way. I'm going to Stockton for the 2nd. So any of you that are running across 70, we may crisscross paths. Right Way to Truck says, what's good, Todd? Not much, man. Good to see you again. Glad you could be in here tonight. We don't have a huge crowd tonight, but it's okay. Like I said, I didn't announce I was going to do one today. I haven't followed a pattern in a long time. And so with it being Sunday, a lot of people are getting ready to return to work. And I got a feeling this video will take off more in the replay areas, in the replay gang. And then, of course, it'll get chopped up into shorts, but those will probably air the 3rd week in July. Steve Given, hey Todd, sorry I'm late. I didn't know you were going live tonight. Yes, sir. I'm sorry I didn't get any notification. I was so tired. I slept a long time this morning, and I thought about taking a nap this afternoon, just kind of trying to get caught up on sleep. And I was like, nope, I got some Monster energy drinks, and I got to drive tonight anyway. So why not do a live, and then after that, I'll go check on this load and start heading that way. Nick Barnett, why did you leave TransAm? I haven't left TransAm. There was a little bit of confusion because of the way TransAm classifies people in the computer. So when you finish a lease at TransAm, if you go into another one of their lease trucks, they just flip you over. When you finish a lease in a TransAm truck and you go get your own truck, they show it as a termination, like you quit until you get the new truck. And I asked about that, and the reason they do that is they said sometimes it takes guys a month or two to get a truck. Mine took, it took almost a week, but the termination time was 2 days. They've since gone back and fixed that. But there was never a separation between me and TransAm. There was never a conflict where they were like, you don't work here no more. Or I was like, screw y'all, I'm out of here. We were in constant communication, not only those 2 days, but even when I was down getting the other truck, we were talking multiple times a day. They knew I was coming back. I retained my fuel card. I retained my gate pass. And so there was no time where they considered me separated from the company, although their computer considered me separated for 2 days. Even my benefits that I've got through TransAm, through UTBA, remained in effect. They were temporarily suspended, and they got those reinstated. And so, I don't know why that rumor went around. I think it's just wishful thinking, but that's something that never happened. And I never announced in a video that I'd left TransAm. I'm not sure where you got that information, other than it's wishful thinking by some other YouTubers that are wanting to get some clicks. And they've learned that they get more clicks when they put Trucker Todd in the title of their video than when they don't. And same thing, there's some podcasters that's learned they get more clicks when they put my name in a video or they try to interview me. It's been a while since I did a podcast interview, and I've been asked, I get asked all the time. The problem is, if I don't have the time to come on here and do a live for you guys, why do I have the time to go on somebody else's show? And I need to make time for all of that. Now that we've got this dispatcher thing straight, now that we've got the truck situation straight, I think we're going to be in a much better place and be able to do a lot more than what we've been able to do this first 5 or 6 months that I've been here. All right, let's see here. Jay from Tech, or is that EJ from Tech? Anyway, does your loads at TransAm have a lot of time on the loads? It really depends on the load. Here lately, I've been getting a lot of loads that were either drop and hook at the shipper, like this one is I'm picking up later tonight, or it's drop and hook at the receiver, and like my last one was that I delivered last night. And so those I turn and burn on those. It's my understanding that they dispatch these loads at 50 miles an hour. So a lot of times they do have a little extra time on them, which I'm fine with that. But if I'm going to be there real early, I usually talk to my dispatcher and see if we can get an earlier appointment time. If we've got a drop yard, I can drop it at, get somebody else's load, or get another load, I mean. Or if somebody's broke down, I can repower their load, things like that. So I am constantly in touch with my dispatchers trying to see how we can maximize my time. But honestly, I don't mind a little time on some of these loads. You know, you don't want to run, for lack of a better term, balls to the wall every single day. You like to have some days where you can pull over and do your laundry, get a shower, stop at Walmart, get some groceries. For those of you with YouTube channels, edit some videos, or in my case, make some videos like I'm doing right now. So the strategy I've got tonight is I'll go over here, see if this load's ready. It's supposed to be ready between 8 p.m. and 12:30 a.m. So I'll get over there about 8:30 probably. And if it's not ready, it's here in Olathe, so it's close by, about 5 miles away. If I get over there and it's not ready, I'll go into the sleeper, stay there 3 hours, and hopefully it'll be ready after that, and I can split log tonight if I need to. But this load really, it doesn't deliver to the 2nd. So I've got, which is Thursday, so I've got a little time to get to California. I want to say it's like, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I think it's like 1,700 miles. May not even be that far. And so I'm pretty happy with it. That leaves me time for weather and mountains and traffic, things like that. But yeah, so I've been really happy with the loads. Prime loads are paying, well, let's be honest, they're paying better than I thought they would, but they're not paying as good as I think they should. But I think that's true anywhere. I think I'd say the same thing on the spot market. I think no matter what you're paid, you always wish you were paid more. You know, if you paid me $50 an hour, would I want $51 or $52 an hour? Absolutely. If you pay me $3 a mile, would I rather have $3.25 a mile? Sure. So I think sometimes you just got to be content and happy. And the loads are very driver friendly. I've been pretty happy with the loads. The equipment, and I'm referring to the reefer trailers from Prime, are top notch. I've only had one that wasn't my favorite one, and it still ran fine. But most of them are, I wouldn't call them new condition, but they're in fairly like new condition. They're like a trailer that's a couple of years old condition wise. And a lot of them model year wise are just a couple of years old. So I think the maintenance department at Prime does an excellent job of upkeeping their trailers. And quite frankly, as many trailers as they've got, I don't know how they do it. It'd be fascinating to sit down with the head of maintenance at Prime and just see how they manage such a large trailer pool. And I think part of it is probably drivers, having good drivers that take care of the equipment. Now, I'm not going to blow smoke at you and say every driver is great, because, you know, there's a lot of companies that pull Prime freight, and it's just like any other company. There's some guys that'll drop a trailer with trailer issues, and there's some guys that won't drop it until it's fixed. But my experience has been pretty good. I haven't picked up a trailer yet that I felt like needed tires, or that was unsafe to be on the road, or that had missing or defective lights or nothing like that. And so that's definitely reassuring. Hey, Life on 18 Wheels is here. Man, it's good to see you. I was just thinking about you the other day. I hadn't seen you in a video in a while, and I was wondering how you were doing. Call me sometime if you've still got my number and let me know how you're doing. If you're still at the same company or if you moved and kind of what's going on. It'd be good to touch base with you. If you don't have my number, email me at todd@truckertodd.net and I'll shoot it over to you. Steve Given, 1942. Can you bring your own trailer? So I think there's options like that with Prime. I don't think you can do it at TransAm, and I'm not sure you would want to. And the reason is they've got a lot of drop and hook, and you're going to limit your options a little bit by bringing your own trailer. But if that's something you want to explore, no sooner than I say that, they'll go, oh, yeah, Todd, we've got 24 drivers that do that. So call the number in the description of this video or get in touch with me at todd@truckertodd.net, and I'll get you in touch with somebody that can give you a for sure answer. But my 30,000-foot view answer would be, I wouldn't recommend it just because you'd lose access to all the drop and hook. EJ, I guess that's EJ. I'm going to call you Jay, though. Is Trucker Todd working for Prime or Hirschbach? I heard he was going over to Hirschbach. So I still work at TransAm. This is a TransAm hat that I've got on. New design they just came out with, and it's extremely comfortable. It's got that elastic back on it. I really like this hat. But independent contractors, I've got my own truck through TEL. Information's in the ticker at the bottom of the screen. I'm leased on to TransAm with my own truck, but we pull prime freight. Independent contractors do. Company drivers, TransAm still has their own freight that company drivers pull, but independent contractors, to my understanding, every one of them here pulls prime freight, prime trailers. I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, there is absolutely zero chance of me going to Hirschbach or Hurricane at any point in the foreseeable future. Now, 10 years from now, could it happen? Sure, anything's possible. But I can tell you that it's not something that's being entertained or considered. I can also tell you that there's a lot of false information going around on YouTube. People just trying to get clicks by mentioning my name, making up crazy things. I've heard everything, especially the last 2 or 3 weeks. If I don't regularly put out videos, they get bored and they make stuff up. And the funny thing is they even tell people in their videos that they're not credible. They make stuff up and people still watch them and believe them. I just think it's hilarious. But no, I don't work for Prime. And I do not work for Hirschbach, nor do I have plans to work for either of those companies. They both have inward-facing cameras, and to me, that's just no bueno. Roger Berry, hey, I'm glad you're still here, man. He's working for TransAm, which is hauling prime freight. Yes, sir, that is correct. Jay says, Trucker Todd has a nice house, even has a piano in the living room. Yeah, that's funny. I had, this is one of the backgrounds that StreamYard has, and I had another YouTuber that he made a video and said he was staying at Todd's Airbnb. I thought that was pretty creative and funny. I'll show you guys real quick, just the sleeper of the truck. It's just a mess right now, and so it's a lot more visually appealing to see that. There's the truck. See, not much to see, just the top bunk. All right, let's get back to this. I could go to a dingy motel room if that makes you feel better. There you go. Now I'm in a dingy hotel room or haunted house, whatever you want it to be. All right, the next one. Jesus, name above all names. Channel member. ¿Cómo está? How are you doing? Hope you are well. I'm in Washington D.C. suburbs. I had an 11 a.m. appointment for delivery. They haven't even put me in a dock yet, and it's almost 6:30 p.m. Yeah, that's something. I had that instance this week where I showed up at 4:30 in the morning for a 6:30 appointment, and they go, "Oh no, your appointment's not 6:30 this morning. It's 6:30 tomorrow morning." Well, they were wrong. We had to get the beef packing plant involved, and I sat there the majority of the day. And they had signs up everywhere. If you're late, you're going to pay a late fee, blah, blah, blah. But when they're late, why don't they have to pay a late fee? And I realize I've already been told I'm going to get detention, and it'll be a significant amount of money. I sat there about 10 hours, but it won't be equivalent to what I would have made if I was rolling down the highway for that 10 hours. Now, you could argue that I also wasn't burning clock while I was sitting there. And so maybe it's all fair in the wash, but I don't know how you do it. I've been told that the FMCSA can't regulate shippers and receivers. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know if that's true or not. But we've got to find some way to regulate these warehouses that want to tie you up all day. And I guarantee you, if they refuse the load and had to pay you the same rate to take it back to where they got it from or where you got it from, I think this stuff would come to a stop real quick. The reason it's being permitted and the reason it's continuing is because it hadn't hit them in the pocketbook hard enough yet. Steve Gibbon. So are you leasing the new truck through Prime? No. It's in the ticker below. I'm leasing this new truck from Tel. Matter of fact, there's a QR code on my doors. There's a QR code in the top corner of this video. You can scan that QR code and get more information. They offer Peterbilt, they offer Kenworth, they offer Volvo, and they offer Freightliner. You can get your very own truck. They've got 2 different leasing options, and down payments vary depending on what you do. One option is you go to one of their predestined carriers, people that they work with regular. And one of them is the owner-operator program I'm in, where you can take the truck anywhere you want. They don't care as long as the payments come in on time. And so I'm leasing to TransAm, not through TransAm. This is my own truck. It's ungoverned. It's my truck. I don't know why that's been so confusing. I think it's just a hard pill for some of my detractors to accept. They were so sure I wasn't going to be able to pull this off. And I'd been saying I was going to get a brand new truck. And there was a little bit of misdirection there. I indicated some interest in some Freightliners that TransAm was getting from Prime. And so there was a little bit of that there. But no, I've got my own truck completely separate from TransAm. I'm just leasing it onto TransAm and pulling Prime freight. And so far it's working out really well. I want to say one more thing about it too. Getting a brand new truck, I expected there to be some factory gremlins, little issues with the truck like you usually get when you get a brand new one. I haven't had any with this truck. It's been excellent, which tells me quality control at Kenworth is excellent right now. And I've been told that you don't want to get a truck that was manufactured on a Monday or a Friday, that you want to get one that was manufactured in the middle part of the week. And I know that's especially true in cars. I realize trucks take a little bit longer to build, so that may not apply as much, but for whatever reason, this truck went through the factory very well, and it's been very satisfying. I'm extremely happy. With Kenworth and the truck. This Kenworth dealer in Olathe, Kansas is amazing too. I've been there twice. The first time was because we had trouble hooking up the ELD. And then I went there and I thought I had a minor issue, and it turned out the only issue was me. And after a little education and me apologizing, I went on my way. So that's not on Kenworth, that's on me. Blues Trucker. Hey, Trucker Todd, just happened to see you were live on Home Time, leaving tonight for a quick run to South Carolina. That sounds good, my friend. I'm picking up a load later tonight, and I'm going to California, Stockton to be exact, which I don't really like Stockton, but that's where I'm heading. MNBT or MNB Trucking. There we go. What's up, Todd? Not much, man. How are you doing tonight? Blues Trucker says, figures you're running to California, and I'm on home time. I have a vacation coming up next week, so I won't be running Cali until after the vacation. Yeah, that sucks, man. So Blues Trucker runs out there a lot, and we've been talking about crossing paths. It's going to take me a few days to get there from Kansas. So, yeah, I doubt I'll see you, but maybe next time, man. I like running out west. TransAm knows I like running out west, and they try to accommodate me on that as much as they can. It doesn't mean I always get to go out west, but it means that they try to do it when there is one. So I appreciate them for that. And I hadn't been to California in a long time. As you might remember, SRO Logistics did not go to California or Oregon. So it's been a while since I've been to California. Russell Freight Services. Hey, Todd, going to drop my first video today. Oh, cool. So send me a link, because when you're growing your channel, it's hard to find it in the algorithm, and I'll watch it. So Russell Freight Services bought and paid off a lease purchase truck at DART. And he's about to start a fleet. And he wants to share his journey about starting a fleet. So if that's not something I've ever wanted to do, and I've told him my concerns about that, but that's something he wants to do. And so he's going to try to start a fleet, and he's a pretty smart business guy. I think he'll do just fine. But he's going to share that journey on a YouTube channel. Check his videos out if you've ever thought about starting a fleet, or even if you want more information about paying off a lease purchase truck to completion like he did at DART. I don't know if he's still at DART or not. That'd be a question for him, but definitely check him out. It is so difficult when you're first starting on YouTube to get traction, but if he'll hang in there, I think he'll get her done. Andrew Hurricane. Hey, Todd. Hey, everyone. Hot day out today. Yeah, it's, I was on the phone earlier. It's over 100 in Lubbock, like 104, 106. It was super hot here earlier today when I started this video in Kansas. It was 91. And this truck's doing a fine job of keeping me cool in here, even with all the lights on me, even with a hat on, because most of your body heat escapes through your feet, through your head. By the way, I'm not a doctor either. I'm not offering medical advice. I'm just saying it's my understanding that that's where most of your body heat goes, is through your head, through your feet. And I've got shoes on and a hat on, so I should be warmer than normal. But anyway. William Scooby, I've said for years, Todd, that the way to fix the trucking industry, you've got to start at the shipping and receiving. Yeah, I think right now trucking is so broken that you kind of need a multi-prong attack. You need to attach everything, or attack everything. Experience is not respected or appreciated the way it used to be, and drivers don't command the respect they used to. I've seen varying degrees of hygiene out here on the road. I've seen people throwing their poop bags out, their pee bottles out. can't even carry them over to the trash. Their trash bags out. And I've seen people dumping their trailer trash, like in their reefers and their dry vans, out on the grass. People taking their dogs out, and instead of taking them to a secluded area where nobody walks, they'll take them up right by the truck stop door where you got to dodge pet poop to get inside the truck stop. And so I think there's a lot of things that need to happen. I think there's some room for improvement with a lot of these trucking companies. I definitely think there's some room for improvement among the drivers and the shippers and receivers, and really everybody. I think DOT, at one point in time, and some of you probably hadn't been driving long enough to remember this. I mean, you'd have cops that get out in front of you and run the front door. They'd talk to you on the CB. They were more likely to give you a verbal warning and not even write you. They were a lot more friend to the truck driver than what they are now. And I'm not speaking about all cops. Obviously, there's some good ones out here. Most of them are pretty good. But I can tell you in the first 20 seconds of being pulled over by one, if I'm getting a ticket or not, you can kind of tell when they walk up with a chip on their shoulder, if they're out to get you or if they're going to work with you. But yeah, I think at this point, you could swing a dead cat and hit an area of trucking that needed to be fixed. And we got It's JF watching. Thanks, my friend. Thank you for being here tonight. Jay says he heard Elite podcast will start driving one of Todd's trucks. I haven't seen one of his videos in a long time. The last one I saw, he was basically getting off YouTube to spend more time with family, which is commendable. It's my understanding. I don't know a lot about him. The videos I've seen, I've liked. He's very well organized and does a good job of presenting his points. But the videos I've seen, it's my understanding he has kind of a home everyday job, and that I think he's got some grandbabies and stuff now that he wants to be around. And so very commendable of him to step away from, chasing the dollar and things like that, spend time with your family. To me, that's the definition of success. What he's doing right now, spending time with his family, being home every day. I would say that's come from a long history of making good decisions. And I would consider him successful for that reason alone, regardless of if he's got $1 million in the bank or $10 in the bank. But honestly, I don't know enough about him to comment positively or negatively about him. So I'll just have to leave it there. But if he does want to get a truck, he's welcome to reach out to me at todd@truckertodd.net. I don't have anything positive or negative to say about him, but I'd be glad to have a respectful conversation with anybody that wants to have one. Robbie Ross, have you talked about the government on cracking down on superego? No, mainly because that came from Robbie Ross. No, mainly because I don't know a lot about it. I haven't been following it that closely. Quite honestly, I'm a little disappointed in the government because I think everybody with the CDL knew what superego was doing with logbooks. I think most of us have been at a truck stop and seen them do the sticker swap in the truck stop parking lot. And so I think their reputation, their history, I was talking about Hirschbach and Hurricane earlier, but I think superego might even be a rung below them. They may be a step below those two companies, if that's possible. Definitely scraping the bottom of the barrel. And so I hadn't been following it that close. I'm really a little perturbed that the government hasn't done something. I mean, freaking 60 Minutes figured it out. Maybe they've got drivers working within the company and they're building a case. and it's all going to come down at some point. But if I was at Super Ego and I was leasing a truck, I would not be feeling real secure in my job future right now. And again, I don't work for Super Ego. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an accountant. This is just a truck driver giving his opinion. But yeah, I don't know why, unless people just don't do research. I don't know why anybody would go, hey, I think I want to go get a Super Ego truck or whatever name they are this, or hey, I want to get a Hurricane truck. I know why they do it. It's because they want a pretty truck. But is that really the only reason we're out here is to get a pretty truck? I've told y'all, and I think this truck demonstrates it, that to me, a truck is just a tool to make money with. It's not a status symbol. And so this truck is on the more basic end, and I'm okay with that. I've got it comfortable. I've got an extremely comfortable mattress in here. I've got lots of entertainment in here, video game systems, a gaming laptop, things like that. But at the end of the day, it's just a tool to make money with it. How fuel efficient is it? Can I make money with it? Things like that. And, I don't know why anybody would go to Hirschbach, Hurricane, or Super Ego. And there's a couple more companies I would throw in there. Well, Todd, why didn't you mention Western Express? I actually get Western Express. If you're needing a second chance company, if you're a felon, that might be the only people that'll hire you. There's someone for everyone, and you might have made some mistakes in your life where that's the only place that you can go. But man, if you've got a company that's getting 500 autonomous trucks, they are anti-trucker in my opinion. And man, if you just read the contract at Hurricane and you think that's a good deal, you're not ready. M&B Trucking, I'm probably coming back to TransAm in January. What are you waiting until January for? I'm not meaning that negatively. I've got a guy that he's coming within the next 60 days, but he ran into an issue with his LLC, and it's going to take him about 45 days to get that resolved. And I didn't know if you had something like that was holding you up, or you're completing a lease where you're at or something like that. Generally speaking, though, January is a tough time to make a change to a different company. Right after Christmas, freight's usually slow for several weeks. And so, I mean, if that's when you got to come, that's when you got to come. But hopefully between now and January, you've got a little nest egg saved up so that you can still maintain your lifestyle till the money gets flowing. William Scooby, hey Todd, whatever happened to that account that used to be on your shows? Which one? I've been doing this 5 years, and people come and go. I think, are you talking about accountant? Or are you talking about Trucker CFO? We made a decision to go, or I made a decision that we should go our separate ways, and I've been served a cease and desist, so I can't really discuss it other than to say I would not recommend anybody do business with him. Quite honestly, I don't even know if he's in business anymore. But if I'm going to say that, let me say some good about him. When I had my strokes, he did email me and wish me well and told me he hoped I was feeling better. Recently, last week, we had a brief email exchange, but we're not at a point where I could recommend his services or him professionally. I think he's a pretty good guy, but I've got some issues with his business and with his business practices. And that's really all I can legally say. Let's see, this Robbie Ross. The stories I heard of are incredible. Beating insurance company using the same VIN for 3 trucks. pulling drivers out of trucks and leaving them on the side of the road. Can't complete your lease. Yeah, I think the thing that concerns me is how many umbrella companies they have under under their under their umbrella. There's a lot of companies, and it seems like they just drive till they get caught, and then they add a new company to the mix. And they call it a chameleon carrier. That's something that's supposed to have ended. Again, I'm not a lawyer. Do your own research, but I just I wouldn't feel secure in my job if I worked there. Maybe there's guys that do. I'm sure somebody's going to email me, tell me, Todd, I make $3,000 a week every week over there. It's the best place I've ever worked. And all I'll say to that is congratulations. Good for you. It's not for me. MNB, it's kind of a have to wait situation. Okay, well, that makes sense. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with doing your research. And, usually you can tell when something's a bad deal. And this comes from sales. They try to pressure you. You got to do it tonight. This offer won't be here tomorrow. Do it tonight. Do it tonight. And you want to go home and think about it. If somebody won't allow you to think about it, then there's something going on. And a lot of these YouTubers, especially the one I'm thinking of at one of the companies I mentioned tonight, it's, oh, come right now. Come get this pretty truck. Shows partial settlements, won't show full settlements, makes claim, and I don't show my settlements, but he makes claims that are mathematically impossible. And says, oh, you got to come right now. This truck won't be here. If you can't think about it, then that's probably not a place you want to work. And it's oftentimes it's because he wants to get a referral bonus before he moves on to the next latest, greatest deal. Like I said, I can go back and show you comments where people said I wouldn't last here 30 days. TransAm was the worst company ever. One guy told me he bet $1,100 I wouldn't complete my lease. I did. Several people told me there was no way I would ever be able to get my own truck, especially a brand new one. I did. I showed video footage of the odometer. I'm sitting in that truck right now, but you can't tell by my background. So, yeah, that's what I would say about that. It's good that you're taking time to wait and see. Gary Cook, channel member. Hey, Todd, I'll be in your hometown tomorrow. It'll be a little bit before I get there. I would love to pass through there, hopefully from Stockton. If they can get me something going to Georgia or something, I can pass through real quick. And then I may not have to take that time off in July. Like I said, I just need to go get some blood drawn and sign some paperwork, and then I'll be good to come back out. Yeah, that's probably what I would say about that without violating that cease and desist order. That's the one and only I've ever got is if I was working with the company closely and I discovered that it probably wasn't a good idea for me to continue working with them to the point that I said I can't recommend them anymore. And then they felt like they needed to put a cease and desist on me. It's kind of a enter at your own risk kind of thing. If you want to go give him a shot, you can do it. But, I mean, it's not something I'll be entertaining. And the funny thing is, and this isn't just applying to him, there's a lot of stuff that can be fixed with me with an apology. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody does things wrong. But a heartfelt apology, if he called me, we could work out our differences in a 15-minute phone call real easy. And so that's what I would say about that. Some of the people that are watching this that can't comment because they've been removed for various reasons, mostly stabbing me in the back. We could still fix things with a heartfelt apology, but they're not going to apologize because that's just the way they are. Some people think they're never wrong. M&B Trucking, I hope they have some Freightliners by then. Can you say your email again so we can exchange numbers? Yeah, it goes across the ticker too. It's Todd, Todd, at truckertodd.net. If you call me or if you email me tonight, it may be tomorrow before I can get back to you, just because I usually right after a video, I'm buried. If you want to call tonight, I can do it. Just know it's probably going to be later tonight. Kind of let me know in the email when the best time to call you is. Racing Ray, channel member moderator. Hey, Gary Cook, call me. You better get a good play. I'm not sure what he's saying. Anyway, Gary Cook, Racing Ray wants you to call him. I can text you his number if you don't have it. I don't know. I think you two have talked before, hadn't you? William Scooby, I'm glad to see you're doing much better. I've been watching you for several years now, and it looks like you're fully recovered. No, I've had some bonehead moments this week. I'll tell you the most frustrating thing, and I don't know if it's from the strokes or if it's from getting old, but I'm just so darn forgetful now. And, you know, especially switching trucks like this, everything wants you to have a password, and it's got to be so many letters and so many numbers and so many capital letters. And it's just overloaded my brain. And I've got a password saver in my phone that saves a lot of them. But every once in a while, like every 30 days, it'll want you to reset it or type it in manually. And it is frustrating to make a password and need it 30 minutes later and not remember it. And people say, well, write them down. And I don't like doing that, because if I leave that pad of paper somewhere, then somebody's got all my passwords. So maybe it's more of a getting old thing. I'm 53. I'll turn 54 in December, but yesterday I did something super boneheaded, and I'm too embarrassed to tell you about it, but I was really, really frustrated with myself. And the only reason I'm telling you all this is just to say, we all have good days and bad days out here. And if you're frustrated, just hang in there. Tomorrow it may get better. Hey, Gary Cook, this comes from Racing Ray, channel member moderator. You might better get a good plate of Tex-Mex while you're here. Yeah, definitely. As the band Bowling for Soup says, the Mexican food sucks north of here anyway. So yeah, when you're in the South right there, you got to get some Mexican food. It's just better in our neck of the woods. Gary Cook, channel member. I'm delivering at Cisco Foods in Lubbock at 6 a.m. Yeah, right there behind the Flying J. I've been there numerous times. You'll usually get in and out pretty quick. So that's not a bad place to be delivering. Man, I wish I was in town. We go grab a cheeseburger or something. But we're at the point of the video where we're caught up on all the comments. I'm going to thank everybody for being here. Remind everybody to give this video a thumbs up. Share it on your social media platforms. And make sure you're subscribed. YouTube likes to do a cool little thing of unsubscribing people. So it's something you periodically need to check and make sure you're subscribed. After you do, you need to click that bell and select all. I get people all the time. Todd, I'm not getting a notification. Well, a lot of times, not always. We've had exceptions to the rule. It's because they didn't hang around and click that bell and select all. So YouTube's only sending them notifications part of the time. But anyway, I'm giving you guys a few more minutes to type messages. And so if If you've got any questions about my tail truck, if you've got any questions about TransAm or what I've been doing the last few weeks, drop them down there and we'll get to them in short fashion as the comments are kind of drying up. But we've done good. We're almost at the hour and a half mark. I had a YouTuber tell me years ago, he's like, when you do your lives, you need to cut them off at an hour, no matter what. And I said, well, we're not going to do that. If they still got stuff to talk about, we're going to keep going. And my load's probably not going to be ready till later tonight anyway. So I'm either going to sit here and do this or I'm going to go eat something. William Scooby says it's probably age of being tired. I woke up the other day, got going with the wrong directions 30 minutes before I realized I went the wrong direction. Yeah, I've done that. I've missed exits. Not this week, but I'm saying over the years past. I think we've all missed exits. But yeah, it is frustrating because I expect a certain level out of myself. And if I miss the mark, I am not happy. Yo Mama's House says Red G. All right, I'm not sure what that means. How much money did you have to save in order to get the truck? So it's different in everybody's situation. They base it on credit, work history. They'll do pretty much anybody. I've seen people get trucks as low as $50. I've seen people get trucks for as much as $10,000. And so some of it depends what company you're going to work for, work history. There's a lot of factors that factor into it. And the reason I don't give specific numbers is because no matter what number I say, people are going to say, oh, well, you got a special deal because you're Trucker Todd. Encourage people to call Will. His number's in the ticker down there. And there's a link in the description where you can fill out an application. They'll reach out to you and talk about your specific situation. And I also get asked, can you haggle the down payment? And the true answer to that is I don't know. But I think they do have some flexibility where they can work with you if you don't have it all up front or whatever. I don't know that for a fact. I think some of it depends on which of their two lease options you do. But it's definitely worth a 15-minute call to talk to Will and see what options are available. Brian Produce, good to see you back on here again, Todd. Have a great week. Thanks, Brian Produce. I swear to y'all, I'm trying to get better about doing these lives. But y'all don't forget to give me a thumbs up. That'll really help me, especially since I've been out of the loop a little bit. And I'm gonna work on getting better. Like I said, we're making some changes over here that should facilitate making it easier for me to do videos. And I think you're going to see me on some podcasts before too long. If you're subscribed, I'll leave a community post, or I'll put something on the Trucker Todd Facebook page, kind of letting everybody know when I'm going to be on a podcast. But I've received several invitations. It's just, I want to be able, when I commit to a day, I want to be able to show up on that day and do it correctly. So Gary Cook, channel member, how come you didn't go back to SRO Logistics? I don't know that there was a specific reason. I was already here at TransAm. I had the lease purchase truck. Things were going good. I'm getting an amazing fuel discount while fuel shot up. So sometimes some of the moves I make market driven, and contract freight's a little more stable. And so for now, I thought this might make the best sense. There's a lot of hidden expenses when you run the load board with, load board subscription fees. I've got to get my own pre-pass, which I still pay for it here, but it's rolled into my settlement. It's easier for accounting. There's a lot more drop and hook here. Well, there's none at SRO. Everything's live load and live unload. So it wasn't nothing negative against SRO logistics. But I mean, I've been there twice, once before the stroke and once after the stroke. And I think at this point, it's time to try something different. I won't say never, but right now I haven't had any discussions with him about coming back. And no plans, not saying it won't never happen, just nothing that he and I have discussed in recent memory. Jay, does TransAm charge more for true owner operators versus their trucks? No, if anything, I'm saving about 10 cents a mile. They have a couple of escrows that they require you to do when you're leasing their truck. And I don't have those escrows. So their truck payment is a little cheaper than my truck payment. But with those escrows, I end up saving about $200 or $300 a week by not having to pay those extra escrows. Let's see. William Scooby thought I've been doing this since I was 15. I'm 53. A lot of it is complacency and just being wore out sometimes. Amen. I think that's probably true for all of us. I think whether we're truck drivers or not, I think we have some days where we wake up and you go, man, I don't feel like working today. And we have days where we're like, man, I can't wait to go to work today. And so I get it, man. And, you know, when you get older, stuff hurts that didn't hurt before. And you don't move as fast as you used to. And so I get it, man. I get what you're saying. Channel member moderator, Racing Ray. I was wondering if you could go back into the piano room and play us a tune. I can go back in the piano room. I can't play a tune, but if you want to imagine it in your head, I'm on par piano wise with Elton John. As a matter of fact, sometimes he calls me for piano lessons, and I try to help him when I've got the time. Robbie Ross, channel member moderator, or no, not he, former channel member moderator. Sorry, I'm still in the habit of saying that. Is Prime Fuel Card better than Dart? Absolutely. It's by far the best discount I've ever seen. The other day I got fuel and saved over $1.50 a gallon off the pump price. If you'll call me sometime, we'll do a comparison. Whatever city you're in, we'll pull up what your discount is and what my discount is, and I'll show you the difference. Gary Cook, channel member, does TEL have reefer trailers? They do have trailers, both reefer, drive-in. I think they even got some flatbeds, but they don't do lease on them. You have to purchase those. And I think you have to get your own financing, but I'm not sure about that. Ooh, it got warm in here. Let me turn the air down a little. All righty. There's one. Blues Trucker. Everybody have a good night. Going to get ready to go to the yard in a bit. Have a safe trip to Stockton. I'll catch up with you later. All right, man. Have a great night. Enjoy your vacation time. It was good to see you again. And JM says, hi, Trucker Todd. Hey, JM, thank you for being here tonight. We are caught up on the oh, no, we got another one. 313 Leo. You can jump on that piano and play us some Mozart. Man, I'm so talented and skilled on the piano. I could hop over there and play Metallica on that piano, and it would sound amazing. And those of you that know me personally know I'm very musically inclined. Some of you that have heard me sing say it's almost an angelic voice. Many of you have questioned why I'm not a musician instead of a trucker and YouTuber. And boy, if you believe that, I've got some real good stuff to sell you. Robbie Ross, I attempted to get the Prime fuel card. They want an EIN number. I never completed the app. I think we're talking about a different fuel card. I'm talking about Prime Inc., the company, the trucking company. You're talking about Prime, the fuel card company. It's a different card. Larry Kendall Webb, good friend of mine, says, hello, Trucker Todd. Didn't know you were live. Yes, sir. Went live about an hour and a half ago. It was kind of a spur in the moment, impromptu thing. And if you get a chance, go back and catch the first part of the video. I kind of went on about a 25 or 30-minute monologue, kind of talking about what's been going on and my thoughts on everything. JM, I have 1 year OTR flatbed experience as a company driver. Would you advise to lease or buy a truck? I have money saved. It really depends on what you want to do. The first question I would ask you before you did it is why you want to lease or buy a truck to begin with. What is it about company driving that you want to change? And if your first answer is I want to make more money, then I'm going to try to talk you out of doing it. If it's you want truck ownership, it's always been a goal. If you want to be in control of maintenance decisions, if you want the freedom, then I get it. But I want to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. And I think a lot of people watch my videos and think I'm anti-company, and I'm not. I think that I quite honestly think most people should be company drivers. And you got to do a lot of soul searching before you lease or buy a truck and realize what you're getting yourself into. Also, and don't get mad at me for saying this, I typically recommend that you're a company driver for 5 years before you lease or buy a truck. Most people don't listen to me. So when they get upset with me, I say, well, at least get 2 years. The reason is I know it seems like you've learned a lot in a year, but there's still a lot to learn. At best, you've been through one winter out here. And, man, I would encourage you to wait a little longer. But if you're going to do it now, you're off to a good start. You've got some money saved. But just really talk to your family about why you want to do it and make sure they're on board with you, because it's already challenging, but it's almost impossible if your family doesn't support you. And Gary Cook, channel member, play Ronnie Millsap on the piano. Don't know if I'll do that, but I may play some Ronnie Millsap tonight when I'm driving if the calls die down. Red Raider reloading. I'm here now. All right, man. Glad to have you. Are you working tonight? I thought you had Sundays off for some reason. Red Raider reloading, channel member. I'll catch the replay. Or actually, that's moderator. I'm sorry. I'll catch the replay for sure. Good deal, my friend. 313 Leo, just wanted to say hi. I'm happy you're doing well and happy, Todd. I always found it weird when people want to see other people fail. Yeah, but we're all guilty of it. Think of America's Funniest Home Videos. How many of us watch that to watch somebody rack themselves on a skateboard or fall flat on their face? I get that part of the intrigue of watching me is about half the audience wants me to fall on my face. And that's actually half my motivation to not fail is I don't want to fall on my face in front of thousands of people. And you'd be shocked if you knew how many views I get in a 28-day span. It's usually between 400,000 and 500,000 between all the platforms. And so when you've got that many people watching, you don't want to fall on your face. You don't want to fail. And so because of that, I expect a lot of myself. And You know, some of the trolls are yelling at their screen right now. Well, we've seen you fail 100 times. And I would say to that, have you seen me fail or have you seen me learn and continue to grow? I think you've seen me make a lot of vertical moves. And I'm in a brand new truck. I would ask those trolls, are you in a brand new truck? Red Raider Reloading moderator. I'm off. I'm laying in bed watching TV. Oh, that sounds good. I watched a little bit of TV yesterday, but not much. JM, old heads keep telling me not to go owner-operator. It's not something I recommend or don't recommend. Honestly, it's something you got to put a lot of thought into. And hurricane's a perfect example of it. Guys go, I don't care if the contract's terrible. I don't care if the rate's terrible. I want a hooded truck with an 18-speed. I don't care if I starve to death. I don't care if I have to rent the microwave, and I've heard conflicting things on that. I don't care if the lease changes every week. I don't care if I never own the truck or if it's an actual rental instead of a lease. I just want to drive a pretty hooded truck with an 18-speed. And I mean, how do you inject logic or intelligence or discernment into somebody like that? They see that shiny object and they want it. They don't care what the cost. And so that's what I do when I get people on the phone and we talk about it and I ask them why they want to do it, is I ask them those tough questions, things they've never thought about. And some people have a good answer. Matter of fact, Russell Freight Services that was in here earlier, he and I had that conversation. He gave me good answers. And at first, I didn't like him as a candidate. I said, you know, you're too young. You got this, you got that. You don't have enough experience. But as I talked to him, I was like, maybe he can do it. So I was like, all right, man, I'm on board. I think you should give it a shot. Well, now he's starting a fleet. But he appreciated me asking him the tough questions. And some of you don't have anybody in your corner that'll ask you the tough questions. They just want to get a referral bonus off of you, or they just want to lease purchase you a truck. And that's not me. I don't have a dog in that fight. Most of you that come to TransAm don't put me as a referral anyway. And then you expect me to do a lot of stuff for you after you get here. And I still help you as much as I can, but you got to realize there's only one of me. And if it makes your day to stick it to me, then fine. Don't put me down as a referral. Don't come here. You know what, though? Let me tell you this. At the end of the day, whether you come here or not, my situation's going to keep getting better every day. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up. I'm still going to do good. I'm still going to be in a brand new truck, and you're still going to be where you're at in life. And so if you're happy with where you're at in life, then don't put me down. Don't come to TransAm. But if you see some of what I got and you want some of it, then come get it. William Scooby, I found that if you got a family and a house, take care of state company. If you're single or just you and your wife, go for it. Okay, I got it. Let me reread that. I found that if you got a family and a house, take care and stay company. If you're single or just you and your wife, go for it. Yeah, that helps. I've told this example recently. I met a guy that had 9 kids and was paying $2,500 a month child support. And he was a company driver wanting to do a lease purchase. And I was going, man, no, you're going to fail, and you're going to fail quick if you can even find somebody that'll lease purchase you a truck. He's like, well, Todd, I think I'll make good money. You will, but what happens when that truck breaks down or you got to go in the shop for a few days? You're going to go under and you're going to stay under. And then your baby mamas are going to get mad at you because the child support ain't coming. Or you're going to be on the road all the time and not be able to see your kids, and everybody's going to talk about what a deadbeat dad you are. I mean, sometimes because of the decisions you've made in life, you got to deal the cards that you're dealt. And you might have to stay a company driver till some or most of those kids turn 18. But I have people call me that's got $8,000 worth of debt at home. And they're going, well, I can't pay my bills as a company driver. Well, then you might have to do something different, because you're not going to make it in a lease purchase. You'll make it in the beginning until the truck breaks down, or, something like that. You've really got to evaluate your situation. It's not for everybody. And there are some great company jobs out there. Some of you like to call me and go, oh, Todd, I'm a company driver and I make this. Yeah, you've got a good deal. Google what the average company driver makes and say, can I live on that? Are you going to find jobs that maybe pay more than what Google says? Yeah, but you may find some that pay less. I worked construction when I was trying to get a home over day job when my kids were little, driving a truck, and I made a lot less than what the average is. So you've got to do an assessment. You got to talk to your wife. If your wife has some unruly kids at home and you're going to go out on the road and leave her at home with those unruly kids and think she's going to stick around, you're going to lose your wife. That's part of why the divorce rate is so high in the trucking community. Think about your wife and the responsibility you're shouldering on her. If you come out on the road, who's going to pay the bills? Are you going to pay them from the road? Is she going to pay them from home? How are y'all going to handle that? These are discussions y'all need to have. Red Raider Reloading, moderator. Did you see my Facebook post Monday? I did not. I get so many messages on there that I have to go in there and specifically look for it. If you send me a screenshot, I'll try to look at it. Or if I get a chance later tonight, I'll try to look at it if I'm parked for a 30-minute break or something. Red Raider Reloading, moderator. Had my first at-fault fender bender in 30 years. Oh, man, that stinks. Were they pretty cool with you about it? I guess they were after 35 years. Where was it at? Was it in Dallas? In one of the parking lots? I don't want to say the company and everything, but in one of the parking lots in Dallas. You got to start calling me when this stuff happens. You always have the good stories to tell. William Scooby, lease owner operator company. It's all about responsibilities at home. Yeah, that's great advice. That is great advice. And there's no shame if you're doing a lease and you need to step back to company. There's no shame in that. There's no shame if you want to step up from company to lease. But go in either direction, know what you're getting yourself into, and know why you want to do what you want to do. The last car lot I worked for, one of the co-owners, he used to have a saying, what's your want to? And he wanted to know the reason you wanted to sell. Because if you don't have a reason, the first time it gets tough, you'll give up. And so that's why it's so important. Why do you want to lease a truck? Why do you want to buy a truck? Why do you want to start a fleet? And if your answer is, I just want to make more money, the first time the money ain't good, you're going to quit. There has to be a want to there. What are you doing this for? I want to do it so I can save money to put my kids through college. I want to do it because I've always had a goal to own a truck. I want to do it because I want to be in charge of maintenance. Those are good reasons. I want to do it so I can get a pretty hooded truck with chicken lights. That's a terrible reason if the lease is bad or the rental's bad. Ooh-wee, we're at 1 hour and 40 minutes and we're still going about like we've been going the whole time. Red Raider Reloading, moderator. Yes, it was Amarillo at the intersection of 45th and Bell. Oh, man, that stinks. I don't know if I'll get you called tonight, but I'll call you tomorrow and get the details on it. All right, we're caught up. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to type, and if y'all don't type anything, I'm going to start making efforts to go to work. You know, they say your taste buds change every 7 years, and I think that's true. I used to hate Monster energy drinks, and either they've improved their flavoring a lot or something, but they're pretty good. And I'll tell you another thing at the truck stops you guys need to try is grinds. They're basically pouches with coffee grinds in them. And when you put them in your mouth, they basically brew a cup of coffee in your mouth. And man, they're good. There's lots of flavors. My favorite is the caramel and the mocha. That's my two favorite flavors. And since it's going into your gums, it's almost an instant shot of caffeine. If you're a little groggy or a little tired, it'll wake you right back up. So they're about $5 a container, and I think there's about 18 or 20 of them in a deal. But man, they're very helpful out here. All right, folks, no comments. I'm wrapping it up and getting out of here. You guys have a great night. Hopefully we'll do this again soon. Thanks for all the participation and everybody being here. I'm out.
And this is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down. Flying by these road signs with home on my mind. With these wheels turning round for my family and for my kids. For this life I wanna live. This is why I do